Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's doing well. I was just quick setting up something here on the computer, so let me just get that done. I apologize. I was running behind and I forgot to put a setting on this. But I thought it would be cool if we talked about like some of the challenges associated with homesteading, because we all know there's plenty out of our control. There we go. I had to put a setting on. Got it. Um, hey there, Craig Tim. Good to see you. Happy Friday. Hey, Gwen, Broke Cowgirl Homestead. Happy Friday. Hey, Holman's Homestead. Good to see you guys. Happy Friday to you guys. What's going on, everybody? Holman's, are you getting any remnants of Hurricane Erin? I don't think so because you're too far in, and I don't watch the news. I try not to anyway. It makes me angry. So we got the piglets castrated. The guy was fabulous. Oh, good, Holmans. I'm glad to hear that. The guy was fabulous. Definitely will use him again. We will not be doing it ourselves if we don't have to. I will tell you that. And they're doing well. They're all stitched up. So, because they were older, so they're all stitched up and they're out running around like nothing ever happened, which is typically how piglets act after they're castrated. But what a wonderful, wonderful experience at the vet. And I'm glad that we took the time to build a relationship with him. So if we need something in the future, I just heard a noise. It was a scanner going off, but I thought like something was going on with my computer. Yeah, it's wonderful. Worth it to, spend the money to build a relationship with him. He did a stellar job. He was absolutely swamped with clients and emergencies and issues, and he took the time to explain everything to us, took the time to ask us things, and really, really cool. So, but Holman's Homestead, you can relate to this. You guys talked about like best laid plans in a comment on one of our videos, best laid plans, and it doesn't go according to that, and you got to go with plan B. Well, this was Wednesday, and we had like 90 degrees here, and in Wyoming where we were going, which is about 45 minutes away, it was close to 100. So we were going to put them in the back of the truck in a dog crate, which would have been easy, and we were going to put a tarp over them. Well, then we saw the temperatures, and you can't do that because they would have been fried by the time we got to the vet. So we had to drain the water off of our Blue Dodge diesel, which doesn't have air conditioning, or it doesn't work really well. So we put them in one of those long totes instead, because we couldn't fit the dog crate in there in the back, because our other truck is a regular cab, so just a 3-seater. And excuse me, the Dodge has a back part, doesn't have a seat, but it has a back part where you could fit a tote. So we fit the tote in there. We got the 2 piglets in there, and I brought a spray bottle, and we drove to Wyoming with the windows open. And everybody did well, so that was good. So the only hard part was when one of them was taken back to be worked on, the other one kind of freaked out, and I ended up having to hold a pig who kept freaking out and trying to climb out of the tote. But no issues, I have to say. That they were pretty good to travel with otherwise. So it all worked out. But wow, what a hot day. Couldn't believe it. And then here we are today, and I don't even think we hit 70 today. So crazy. But just glad it's over, glad it's done with. A lot of relief. And then last night, it's my own fault, so don't come at me, but we were eating supper. It was like 8 o'clock by the time we ate supper. And we were finishing up, and Diesel had something on his eyes, which is pretty common for him. So I leaned over with a cloth napkin just to wipe his eye, and then I was going to throw it in the washing machine. He ate the napkin. Like, ate it. Like it was the best treat ever. So by then it was about 8:45, and we went to the emergency vet in Rapid to get him to vomit it up, because sometimes they pass, sometimes they don't, and then they need surgery. And I figured I'm getting him to puke it up versus have to have surgery. So yeah. So I think we got home about 11:15, which wasn't too bad considering 2-hour round trip. But we are tired because I think I didn't get to bed till 2 o'clock because he was groggy after the shot and he couldn't walk. He kept falling. And they said, oh, it'll wear off in 45 minutes. Well, we were home for a while. So when he finally made it to the living room, I said, okay, it's time for bed now that we know you made it to the living room. Because Ryan had to carry him in, and he just laid on the floor by the front door. That was it. He didn't move. So he is back to his usual self today, but he ate, and it was like a cloth napkin. When I say a cloth napkin, like I make these small size ones. So it wasn't like one of those long ones that you get in a restaurant. I just make these small ones that kind of are the same size as your paper napkins that are, your regular cheap paper napkins. They're like that size. When they're folded, not when they're opened up. So yeah, and they kept joking and asking me if I wanted it back, and I said, no, thank you. You can keep it. So we finally got home. But the good news is he's okay. That's over with. Just always something going on, right? Always something. And I just wanted to look at my list real quick. Let's see here. So, hey there, Joe Serrano. Good to see you. Thank you. Good to see you, my friend. So yeah, just wanted to talk about, the challenges of growing your own food is technically what I'm kind of tired, so bear with me. The challenges of growing and raising your own food. So I say right off the bat, weather, right? Because if weather doesn't cooperate, we could have hail, we could have frosts, we could have cooler years, wetter years, hotter years, drier years. Those all factor into how your harvests come out. Some of them could be great, some of them might not be. Craig says we're setting up 55 lick tubs for next year. Awesome. That's great. So you can have a lot of those things. You could have pests, right? This year for us was the year of the flea beetle. When we had those hot, dry days, the brassicas were all covered in flea beetles. I had to keep putting DE on them. And then it got cooler and they would go away. All under hail netting. Yeah, absolutely. Has to be under hail netting. It's just so much work to lose it all. And it's maddening to me. Holman's Homestead said disease. Yep, diseases are a big thing, right? You can have blight with tomatoes or diseases with other vegetables. Gwen said too much rain, not enough rain, bugs, worms, and heat. Yep. And Gwen always talks about, Gwen's talked about critters in the garden, eating food, little critters, whether it's squirrels or rabbits or something. She talked about leaf-footed bugs. I saw a video on army worms last night, and could not believe what I was seeing. There were so many. And then heat. Gwen always also talks about how tomatoes at a certain temperature in the 90s, I think, or above 90, they stop uh, setting blossoms or setting fruit. So, yeah, I mean, so you can see in her area how that would really affect growing things. Um, and I mean, we're talking not just vegetables. I mean, it's also animals too, right? So, we saw how the turkeys went down this year for us and the pheasants. Dang things. So we still have 4 pheasants. I'm excited because at least one is a male. I will say that because he's getting the red around the eyes and the blue feathers are really coming in now. He didn't have the red around the eyes the other day. So, well, in a week, I'd say. Very cool. So Craig Tim said we put everything under 40% shade cloth as well. Works really well this year. Absolutely. I didn't put everything under shade cloth, but I do put that's because I don't get as much sun as you, I don't think, except in that overflow garden, which is behind the chicken coop. And so we are firm believers in 40% shade cloth over our brassicas in the overflow garden. And it makes a huge difference how they grow under the shade cloth and the hail netting for protection. I don't get rabbits in the garden anymore. I put up rabbit wire around the whole thing, but they ate Amanda's new fall tomato plants the other day. Oh, that stinks. Humidity plays a part in that with tomatoes too. Yes, it does. That's one of the things we struggle with. We don't get the humidity like you get. But that's why I like putting them in the greenhouse. I really do like putting them in the greenhouse. I'm so shocked about those stinking eggplants didn't grow. Not that I'm depressed about it. Don't get me wrong. Neither one of us are like, we got to have eggplant. I just had the seeds and I said, let me give it a shot. And I figured I'd bread them and freeze them and have them to make like an eggplant parmesan. That's all. I think I'm going to tear them out this weekend and put something else in. I'm going to try and grow some Swiss chard and in the greenhouse by taking out the eggplant. Added another 250-gallon water catchment this year. That's awesome, Craig. That's great. Yeah, this was definitely the year of water collection, I tell you. Every time our tank depleted, it filled up again, which was really, really nice. So we really have not spent any water, any amount of money on the garden for hauling water. We have not had to haul any water for the garden because our tanks have been filling up whenever we get rain, so it's been nice. We just have been hauling for the animals. Hey, River Rat, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. How are your peppers doing? Are they starting to come in or no? All female cucumbers, and we're really happy with them. Interesting. So do you order them like that? I never heard of such a thing. That's pretty cool. I mean, I know there's male and female flowers on plants, but I just never thought of that. Now I'm intrigued. I will say I did plant some green Macerata cauliflower, and I'm not impressed. Probably won't be growing it again. I think I'm going to stick to my early snowball because they're much more beautiful. Diva is one variety of the cucumbers. Holman's, is that what you meant? Oh, good to hear, River Rat. I'm glad they're starting to produce. Ours are finally starting to produce. I've got greenhouses full of peppers, and they're not. I got some poblanos the other day. They're very small because they were early maturing ones. So that was pretty cool. Excuse me. Oh, cool, Homans. Thank you. Gwen wants to know if you can save seeds from those. That buttered bush squash that I did in my last video that did nothing for the month of June. The plants were started in the house in April. They sat outside in the ground and did nothing. Then they finally started blooming, and now we have a ton of butternut squash on there. And so I am praying we don't get a frost till the end of September. Because if we get a frost, they're going to be so close and we're not going to get anything. And I'm going to be so mad. There's a name for the Millennial Garden. YouTube had them and did several videos. Okay, thanks. Yeah, Holman said it was called Diva was one of them. Close to seedless due to female plants. Neat. So you can't save seeds because they're close to seedless. Very cool. We have bush cucumbers and they're finally starting to take off now. Like, yeah, all summer. Makes me laugh with stuff like that. But we've been happy with the garden because it's been a lot less cost and work, if that makes sense, because it hasn't required the watering it did last year. And it hasn't required the water hauling. And it's been producing really well. And I have not had to water every day. Last year I did. It seemed to do really well with the watering too. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Joe Serrano said, always a problem. Here my grapefruit tree gets stripped of its leaves by harvester ants. Funny how many weeds present, and yet they prefer the citrus leaves. Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. We have been blessed with produce, but also blessed with weeds. Yes, same here. Same here. In fact, I took a weed whacker to the overflow garden. Well, Ryan took a weed whacker to the overflow garden, and because it was getting so tall, I was afraid we were inviting snakes over. So we cut that down, and we've been pulling the cabbage plants out as we go. Usually I just leave them in, but because I planted so tightly, I've been pulling them out, and we've been letting the chickens eat them. Usually I just chop and drop them. Craig said, I've planted every week this summer and we have had a great harvest. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, we've been happy with ours this year. We've been happy with it. Just the peppers. The peppers, the acorn squash really are the two that kind of frustrate me, but that's all right. I don't know why I planted all those peppers because Ryan was like, we're not going to use them all. I said, yeah, you're right. But it'll be okay. I really want the squash. I really want the butternut squash. That's what I want. So we'll see how that goes. They only have to get to be 1.5 pounds. So hopefully soon they're getting there. But this week we're going to be cool. We're like in the 60s and 70s this week. So that'll be interesting. But it'll be time to, start getting everybody moved around once the piglets heal, because I'm afraid that they'll get a hoof to the wound, so to speak. So once they heal over the next couple of weeks, we're hoping to keep the piglets with the girls to raise them. But I don't want them to get accident, because I see it on the camera. The moms stretch and can hit them, and I don't want them to get hit in that spot and cause a problem. So once they're healed, we will leave them in there, and we're going to probably add on. We just scored a heavy duty gate, and we're probably going to take 2 gates to make a little corral to feed them right outside the gate from the moms, because otherwise the moms will just eat all their food. Right now they're nursing. It's not too bad. And I may let them self-wean. I'm not sure. since they're all going to be living together, because they will eventually stop nursing on their own, and it'll make life a lot easier. Plus the fact that Eleanor's weight is up there, it's not that it's taxing on her like it usually is. So I found that interesting. She went into farrowing with a really good weight, and she's come out of it with a really good weight. Usually that's a struggle for her. I was blessed with a few tomatoes, a bunch of cucumbers, and a lot of weeds. Yeah, I hear you. Lots of weeds. I'm not weeding. For me, it's a waste of time. I think if you really love gardening, you want it to look pretty and you do it. Not me. I'm thinking of doing a thing maybe next year where all we do is buy cases of produce from local folks and compare the costs and the effort. Because quite honestly, I think I'd probably get a lot more to be able to can. But there is nothing like growing your own food. Trying to think what else. What other challenges of growing and raising your own food? For me, a lot of it is the things that are out of your control, like the weather that we talked about, or, you could be raising animals and there's predators that can get to them. There's illnesses that can get to them. We are convinced this hybrid stretch of turkeys that we got this year, not impressed at all. Not impressed at all. We're down to 4. Ironically, the 2 with the wry neck are doing great, eating, drinking, and growing. They're getting big. So that's been cool. But it's just, to have that many and then to have them be down. I mean, just like the pheasants, we had 23. Pretty common to lose a lot in the first week or so. But then to have 12 and now we're down to 4, it's like, Argh. Or mean chickens killing each other, one breaking her own leg. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh yeah, speaking of that, I'm glad Gwen knows this, but the rest of you don't. We had that Spitzhauben chicken. She's like black and white, looks like a Dalmatian. She's got a crested head. She was the one being bullied out by a couple of Jersey Giants. Well, then she disappeared for a few days, and last week I said something probably got her because we haven't seen her. Get this. When we got back from the vet on Wednesday, it had been a long day. We came back from the vet and we had to keep an eye on the piglets because they had been sedated a little bit, so you have to watch them. And we got them back with mom and nursing and all that stuff. And we finally got some supper and all that jazz. And Ryan went out to give one last look at them for the night to make sure they were active and eating and nursing and all that. And they were fine. He heard a very faint scratching sound. He came back to the house, got a flashlight, and we have metal siding for the pig barn that Eleanor's in. On the inside, we have a wooden half wall. So that way, when the pigs lean against the wall, they don't lean against the siding and bow it out, right? So there's like a 4-inch gap between the siding and the wall. None of our chickens can fit in there. She did. Our other chickens would never fit in that space. That chicken fell down in the wall and had to have been there for a week, and we had no idea. So when he heard that, he went and he saw her and he pulled her out. Mind you, it was hot. I don't know how she wasn't dead. So he pulled her out. We had her in the house for 2 days. She drank and ate like nobody's business. Everything is back to normal, shall we say, biologically, because you can see it. And we just put her outside today in the baby grow out coop. But you don't need to baby chickens. They are tough cookies, let me tell you. It is crazy. Oh, and I forgot to mention Lisa Clovey had something to do tonight, so I should have mentioned that earlier. Sorry, that's why she's not here tonight. She's out having a blast, and I told her to enjoy every moment. But yeah, so life is crazy, lots of challenges, lots of things, right? What are some of the crazy challenges you guys have been up against? I know Gwen said mean chickens killing each other, one breaking her own leg. It could be even like silly things like we had a chicken come back with her leg hanging. It wasn't we had one come back with a broken leg like Gwen was talking about. We had that where the leg was hanging. I don't know what happened there. Another one come back full of blood on her leg. It's crazy. It always seems like it's something, right? To keep us busy. Keep us busy. Or the telltale cows outside the fence kind of thing. Because I saw plenty of that today. And I was like, oh boy. Or, like we were talking about growing and raising your own food. Well, sometimes you have to grow hay to feed, feed your animals, right? Because that's food for them. And, we were looking south of us and it doesn't look like they're going to get second cutting this year, which is kind of sad. Because you could tell once they cut the last time, it didn't seem to grow back. It's kind of weird. Yep, always something, always something. Keeps us on our toes, doesn't it? Keeps us on our toes. I'm probably going to do a short live tonight because I am still whooped from last night, but I'll stay for about till we hit the 30-minute mark. Anything else, you guys? Anything else you want to share? I know Holman's Homestead has been talking about praying for Shelby, which is one of their subscribers. Been going through some healing. Gwen said 3 goats should be bred. Yay, they haven't tried to kill themselves. Well, that's a good thing too. Although when Gary was getting honeysuckle out with the buck, he fell down, rolled around on the ground, got up and got her out. Well, I'm glad he got her out and he didn't hurt himself. That'll be great that they'll be bred. All's good. I'm glad. Yeah, I recently learned some information on why Fiona may not be pregnant. And I think this is the reason why, but I need to read more into it before I talk about it. But it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited about that. Because now we can figure something different out. But it might account for the small litters and might account for the reason why yesterday was Fiona's last day at her window, and I don't see any signs. So, and I'm kind of relieved, I have to admit, because that year that we had 15 of them running around was a lot. I'm glad that we got the 2 that we're going to raise for pork, which will be good. And as most of you guys saw on social media, if you haven't, the piglets' names are Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash. So Johnny Cash is the firstborn black and white one, and Willie is the brown and white one who is starting to turn black and white. Joe said Fiona, Eleanor, Sherman, and I'm missing the other boar. We have Fiona and Eleanor and Grant. Have a good night, Holman's Homestead. Sherman we sold about a year, almost 2 years ago. So we just have Grant, Norman, who's a Barrow, Fiona and Eleanor, and then we have Willie and Johnny now. And they're doing they're doing really well healing and stuff. All right, guys. Well, like Homans, I'm going to get going because last night was a late one and just whooped. Just whooped. So I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and stay safe, get some good stuff done, have fun, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care.